It's time to talk about the Saturday games of round 3 in Super Rugby 2020. This weekend we will see the Sunwolves up against the Chiefs, the Hurricanes and the Sharks, the Brumbies and the Highlanders, the Lions versus the Stormers, that's going to be a big one, and the Jaguares versus the Reds. As I said in yesterday's video in my Friday preview, the channel is a year old this week, and I just want to thank all of you for supporting the channel. If you haven't gotten that message yet, I do this for you, and I do appreciate all the messages I do get in the comments each and every week. Let's get into the games and waste no more time. The Sunwolves versus the Chiefs. The Sunwolves, they were on a bye in week 2, so they have been prepping for this game for 2 weeks now, and they will be ready for the Chiefs and what the Chiefs have on offer. The Sunwolves, they won in round 1 by 9 points against the Rebels. The Chiefs, though, they are 2 from 2, beating the Blues by 8 points and the Crusaders by 10 points. History, everyone knows this one. It is the most important one, probably. The Sunwolves beat the Chiefs last year in 2019 in New Zealand. So the other 2 games where the Chiefs beat the Sunwolves probably doesn't matter in history. A closer look at the teams. The Chiefs, they made a bunch of changes just all round. They are currently the top team in New Zealand, so hopefully this will not bite them in the behind with all the changes they have made. In the backline, first we have Weber coming in at number 9. This is an upgrade to me. He was in my fantasy team all the time last year. If you do play that, the Superbru stuff is in the description below. Trask, he's in for Cruden. They decided to rest him. Nankivell is in for Anton Leonard-Brown, who's also rested. And then Stevenson in for Wainui. The line still features Damian McKenzie though. But the interesting thing for me is how Nankivell will go up against Teo. Up front for the Chiefs, they changed Dylan Nell at number 8, resting Kane as well. And the turnover machine is still in the side. Boucher, he just moves to number 7. And the legend himself, Adam Thompson, is going to make his long-awaited return after a few years ago, 2 years ago, I think, he had that spinal illness and he was basically in a Japanese hospital, and I can't wait for him to carry the ball this weekend. The Sunwolves, in contrast, they only made 2 changes to their starting side. Saito, he comes into number 9, and Jacobson at number 6. At number 2, I can promise you Bregvadze can't wait to show what he can do against the young Slater of the Chiefs. Look, the Sunwolves, they won in 2019, but that was a completely different team. None of those players are still in this team. Well, Bregvadze is. But they are at home this time around as well, so that does help them, yes. But they didn't play exceptionally well against the Rebels either. For the Chiefs, they are obviously confident in this game, going into this game, making all the changes. They are confident that they could win it with a second stringer team as well. And they still have a pretty good side with the backline, especially if you look at it. Most of these guys played last year, most of the season, with all the Chiefs' injuries anyway. I mean, the Chiefs team has Damian McKenzie and they have Adam Thompson. That is a reason for them to win. I think the Chiefs will dominate at scrum time. Breakdown, Bashir for the Chiefs, he is just going to be instrumental. That's enough for me, enough reason for me for the Chiefs to dominate the game and actually run away with it a little bit. I think the Chiefs will win by 15 points. Next up, it is the Hurricanes versus the Sharks. The Hurricanes, they started off their season with a loss to the Stormers 27-0. Everyone remembers that one, especially a Stormers fan. And then 1 win against the Jaguares, but they're still 4th place in New Zealand now after that. For the Sharks, they have 2 wins under their belt, one of them in New Zealand, which is a massive accomplishment. They are 2nd in the South African Conference because of that. History between the 2 sides are 50-50 over the last 10 games, but the last time the Sharks beat the Hurricanes in Wellington is 10 years ago, back in 2010. Honestly, the Sharks are on fire at the moment, while the Hurricanes, they are kind of struggling a bit to find that fire, but they are back home for the first time this season. They might actually find it again. The Hurricanes haven't made too many changes to their side. Aso is in with Laumape. That's basically the midfield that tore the teams to shreds in the 2018 season. I love that season, by the way. It's a bit of a shuffle, though, in the forward pack with Evans and Prinsep switching around a little bit. And Fafita, he also comes in with Karifi going to the bench. He's been great at breakdown time, so they're going to miss a bit of edge at the breakdown. Walker Lawere is also in the second row. For the Sharks, they have literally only one change in their side, but it's a change that they would rather have not have made. They would probably wanted to change anyone else but Bosch. But Bosch is out for this weekend. He has some family issues, so he is back to South Africa. Boeta Chamberlain is in for this game. He is only 20 years old, so it might be a big ask for him, but he is supported by a bunch of Springboks around him in the back line, so he could probably make the step up. He's going to be playing against Gordon Bishop, who took real control of the game last weekend against the Jaguares. I think he is showing that he'll probably be starting the rest of the season for the Hurricanes. But the matchup I'm most looking forward to is Laumape versus Esterhuizen, two big lads who like carrying it forward. For me, the Sharks scrum is a strong one with Oxenche and Thomas du Toit. The Hurricanes not bad either. They have Lomax there in the front row. But last weekend, the Sharks basically scored most of their tries from mistakes that the Highlanders made. And remember, the Highlanders were kind of still rusty from basically playing their first season of their first game of Super Rugby. So I doubt the Hurricanes are going to be as rusty and make so many mistakes as the Highlanders did last weekend. And remember, Bosch being out for the Sharks, that's also a big blow for them. Most of his kicks has been over this season, so yeah, he's been pretty good with the boot. Both of the Hurricanes and Sharks backlines have been settling in well so far. Forward packs are pretty even as well. The bench is going to be important for me in this one. The Hurricanes, they have co-captain Dane Coles back in their side on the bench. I know he's going to do well. He just always wants that ball. Remember, Karifi and Booth, they are also very good impact players. For the Sharks, they went with a 6-2 split again, so there's no other 10 on the bench, so Chamberlain will have to play the full game if he plays well or not. This split does ensure that the pack is more dominant, though, the front pack. I know the Sharks beat the Highlanders last weekend, but it is now against the Hurricanes. I don't know. They may not get as many mistakes out of the Hurricanes as they did against the Highlanders. They're not as rusty, so I think the Hurricanes will win by 8 points. Next up on Saturday, it is the Brumbies versus the Highlanders, and it is the Australian toppers versus the bottom of the log New Zealanders. The Brumbies, they beat the Reds by 3 points and then the Rebels by 13 points, while the Highlanders played their first game last weekend and lost to the Sharks by 22 points over in New Zealand. The history between the two sides are 50-50 though, but the Highlanders have a good record in Canberra, winning the last 2 times they were there. The Brumbies, they haven't made too many changes with the veteran Slipper coming in at loosehead prop. The second rowers, Douglas moves from 4 to 5, and then Swain is back from his injury. Will Miller, he is also in at number 7 for the concussed Cusack, who is out now. So not big changes for the Brumbies, they are basically still the same side. For the Highlanders, they also made some small changes in the side. Tompkinson at number 14. Then the All Blacks, number 6, Frizzell is in the side. He's a strong carrier of the ball. And then Parete gets the nod to start at number 4 with Parkinson being out injured. The Highlanders didn't have many players standing out last week against the Sharks, but Tu'u at number 8, he was one of those players standing out. And this weekend, the battle between him and Samu is going to be big for me, just to see who is the strongest runner between the two on the park. The ability to stop mauls will be important for the Highlanders because the Brumbies mauls just carry that ball forward and they score so many tries with Falau Fahinga at the back of them. So guys like Parete and Josh Dixon, they are going to be very important to kind of get through those mauls and stop that ball. I'd like to see them try with that Brumbies pack. For the Brumbies, Lolesio has been very impressive. I get the hype now. I wasn't that hyped up, but I think this guy might be talented and he might become a Wallaby pretty soon actually. He makes some brilliant touches all over the park. He may get the better of Hunt in this game, but we'll see because the Highlanders kind of went with that 2 fly half approach again with Josh Ioane and Hunt on the park. But one of the big battles to look out for is out wide with Kata, the big tackle buster in the side, going up against Nareki. He's a smaller guy, but he is a hot stepper, so I think that's going to be a big battle. I think the Brumbies has the edge in this one. They play their brand of rugby. They play their own type of forward maul game. And then after that, they take the ball wide with a guy like Lolosio getting the gaps, getting the guys through. I think the Brumbies might win by 7 points. Then it is the big South African derby with the Lions facing the Stormers. The Lions, they might be confident heading into this one. With the Stormers, they haven't won in Johannesburg since 2015. The history also favors the Lions, having won 6 out of the last 10 between these two and having 1 draw as well. But this year around, the Stormers, we all know what they have done so far. They've basically zeroed the Hurricanes and the Bulls. Now away from home, we know the Stormers doesn't have a great record away from home in previous seasons. They are saying they're going to change that, so I don't know. For a Stormers supporter, it's always difficult to predict these ones, especially on Superbru. I can promise you the Lions won't be zeroed though. The Lions like scoring tries. They are very good at it, probably one of the best South African teams at scoring tries. But they'll probably kick for 3 points early in the game, get that 0 away from them, and then no one has to worry about that anymore. The Lions, they lost by 30 points over in Argentina in round 1, and then they beat the Reds by 7 points, which was pretty unconvincing last weekend. If you want to see a team that makes little changes to their packs, the Lions, they only made 1 change with Russ coming in at number 13. The rest is completely the same. They probably want to continue with the same team, but just fix all the little mistakes with that team, not fix players by changing guys around. So that might work for them. Hey, who knows? As for the Stormers, they have suffered even more injuries, and their side is becoming gradually weaker and weaker by the week. Kutsia, he is out now as well. Augustus, he comes in at number 8, with Johan de Toey now shifting to number 6. Herschel Yankees, he is out as well. That's pretty bad for them. Masimla, he is in though. It's crucial for the Stormers to get him playing like Yankees, because I think there is a big difference between these two number 9s. Yankees, he is crucial to the way the Stormers attack and how they counter attack. He's good at intercepting the ball, reading defense as well. So getting Masimla to be the same as Yankees is an impossible task. The Stormers, they also brought in Wilco Louw for Frans Malherbe, and the Stormers also heard that Wilco Louw will be joining the Harlequins in July. Both teams have strong benches. Both teams went with a 6-2 split. The props for both teams: Lions have Sadi, the Stormers have Malherbe. The Stormers, they have Schikkeling back from injury as well, while the Lions might be unleashing Alberts. He is on the bench this weekend, so the Bone Crusher might get his chance this weekend around. Looking at the teams again, the Stormers, their scrum has been absolutely dominant in the previous games, while the Lions, they have struggled. They've given away a lot of penalties in the previous week, so they might suffer this weekend around with that Springbok front row of the Stormers. Wilco Louw, he is a beast at scrum time. Breakdown time, though, the Stormers have no fetcher on the park. Johan de Toey, he isn't a fetcher in that side. They might use Kitshoff, who is pretty good for a prop with fetching the ball. But the Lions, they have specialist Marnus Skuman. The little Jack Russell always gets his hands on the ball. The number 9s, Van der Berg, has been very good for the Lions. Last weekend, I thought, I don't know what to expect from him, but he really proved me wrong. He was good. Masimla, I have no idea what to expect from him for the Stormers. Damian Willems, he's going to be important, especially with his kicking. This will determine who wins this game at the end of the day. Going to my prediction, man, I want to say the Lions will win this one by 3. But that scrums really is convincing me that the Lions might get a couple of penalties, maybe a yellow card, maybe a penalty try, give away a penalty try. So, I don't know. I think the Stormers by 4 points in this one. The last game of the weekend is the Jaguares versus the Reds. The Jaguares, their record is they got 30 points over the Lions. They lost by 3 points to the Hurricanes. So mixed feelings over there. The Red season, though, they've lost 2 games. One to the Brumbies, one to the Lions. Both of them very close, within 7 points. So they've been pretty close in the last 2 games. History, the Jaguares have won 2 of the games. The Reds have won 1 game. The Jaguares obviously won last year's game. They were in great form last year. Looking closer at the teams and what is happening over there, the Reds, they received a massive blow to their side. Pattaya is out of the side for this weekend at least. They're still going to assess him to see how long he is going to be out. And at 13, Paisami comes into the side. At fullback, Haggerty goes onto the bench while Campbell shifts from the wing to number 15. Fairway Sotia is getting his first start of the year, going to right wing where Campbell moved from. And the only other change in the red side is Salakaya Lotto going to number 6 with Blythe going in to lock. The Jaguares also made only a few changes to their side. Creevy, he is at 2. He is a legend. The side is only better when he is on the park. Even if he is getting old now, he only plays about 40-50 minutes now, but he is just a legend on the park. Escura, he replaces Kubeli, and I think this is probably just to shift their attacking mindset with their backline a little bit. Delgi, he comes in at right wing. The Jaguares bench is usually a big strength of theirs. It is still strong, but it does lack a little bit. It is a little bit weaker than always. But still strong, like I said. Whereas the Reds bench, not the strongest one, you'll find the backline replacements probably the stronger ones that you can bring on. The Reds team is a bit weaker without Pattaya, and the team made a couple of changes in the backline, whereas the backline of the Jaguares is basically a settled one that has been playing a couple of weeks. De La Fuente and Buffelli for the Jaguares especially, they are experienced guys. The number 10 battle I think is going to be interesting with James O'Connor versus Miotti. Both guys like attacking the lines. They like getting the gaps for the guys around them. So I think that's going to be a cool battle to see who comes out top. The Reds could actually get a couple of scrum penalties from the Jaguares, or force the Jaguares to make scrum penalties, because they have been doing it in a couple of weeks. Their scrum is looking pretty good. I don't think the Jaguares will lose at home twice in a row though. I think the Jaguares has this one comfortably in the bag. Jaguares by 12. Guys, that's my predictions for the week. Leave your predictions down in the comments below. If you want to join the Superbru pool, it is down in the description. And then check out any of these other videos next to me. Cheers.